Avi Myers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, wreaking havoc and chaos upon the general community since 1991. I want to thank my entire technical crew, Sonny Hirsch. Dial us up on the web, www.ntnm.org. Link to YouTube, over 200,000 shows watched. Thank you very much. Big on community policing. We want the Chicago Police to be big on community policing too, so get it together, guys. It is judicial season, and one of the most important things you can probably vote for, and somebody who could affect your life a lot more than your state representative or your state senator or your water reclamation person, is a judge. If you ever appear before a judge, even in traffic court, it's going to mean something. But some of this stuff is very life-changing. And there's a number of cases. So we try our best to bring a number of judges here and highlight them and let you get to know them. And it is a pleasure to introduce you to a sitting judge. And I want to thank, before I forget, Judge James Kaplan for recommending my next guest and putting us in contact. And that is Judge Erica Reddick. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
First of all, a pleasure. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, in December of 2010, I was actually appointed by the Illinois Supreme Court to the bench, and this was after 19 and a half, roughly 20 years of work as a criminal defense attorney for the indigent, that is a public defender, proud to say. And I think it was a couple of really heater cases that brought me to the attention of the court, but essentially I served for 20 years in my capacity as a public defender. I was appointed, I've sat in traffic court for 9 months, and about 6 months in, I requested to go to child protection. So as of 2 weeks ago, I'm now sitting in child protection.
Wow. And which courthouse are you working out of?
That's out of the juvenile court facility over on Ogden.
Okay. So near West Side.
Yes.
And so public defender. Now, and when you talk about child protection, I mean, flesh it out a little bit.
Well, with child protection, essentially these are cases that come into the system where minors, children, are alleged to be abused, neglected, or dependent through various reasons. Sometimes there are more serious issues. Other times it is financial. Sometimes it's a situation as simple as a child is born drug addicted because of the parents, the mother's particular issues. So there can be many reasons why a minor would come into the system and actually be required to, have court involvement.
And it sounds like if they're born an addict, it sounds like they really do need protection.
Absolutely.
That's sad stuff. It really is. So basically, so you were appointed. Are you an associate? Were you just appointed to a regular vacancy, or?
How it happened was, judges, you can become a judge in one of 3 ways, roughly. One is the way that I became a judge, which was when a sitting judge retires and there is still time left on the term, then the Illinois Supreme Court can appoint an attorney to fill that vacancy. So that's how I became a judge. I was appointed to fill the countywide spot of Dorothy Curie Kennard, who retired in December of 2010. The second way to become a judge is through the associates process that you just mentioned, and that's essentially where the full circuit judges vote for you to become a judge. You go through evaluation processes. Usually it's after a career of service where you've distinguished yourself in some way, and so the full circuit judges then vote for you to become an associate judge. And then the third way is what I'm currently doing, having been appointed through the first process. Now I'm running countywide to essentially keep the position that I've been appointed to.
So the Kennard vacancy is the spot you're running for, the one you were appointed to.
Well, that's the plan right now.
Very
Yes.
cool. Very cool. So, well, actually, we're filming this before slating, so we won't touch upon that at all. Good luck.
Okay, thank you.
And so how are you finding being a judge?
You know, I've been amazed by how much I enjoy it. I really only entered the field that I did. I only went to law school to become an assistant public defender, or not even that specific. I knew when I went to law school, my sole focus was to help people who couldn't afford good counsel. And it really didn't matter to me if it was in civil cases or in criminal cases. That was my heart's calling. So when I finished law school, and I went to law school in Ohio, that's where I'm originally from. I've been in Illinois now for over half of my life. I was fortunate enough to attend Northwestern University on a scholarship. And at the end of my studies at Northwestern, I elected to go to the University of Cincinnati's College of Law on a full scholarship, which was an amazing gift. But when I chose to go to law school, I think it was senior year at Northwestern, there was a particular professor in a sociology class, and a lot of what he discussed just really drew me to the desire to help people and to help a specific segment of the population. So the only reason I went to school was to help indigent people. And after school, after I had finished law school, I knew I had to get back to Chicago. This is just, there is no other city or area like the Chicago area. So I applied for positions in this area, and it had pretty much narrowed down to civil for the indigent or criminal. And I'm really glad the Public Defender's Office, Cook County, contacted me. And that began, I think, 1990. I started as a 7-Eleven law clerk, and with the Homicide Task Force, and splitting my duties between that division and the chief judges. And that just became the beginning of a career of just amazing work.
It's very cool. You know what? We have a lot of state's attorney types running for judge. We very rarely have had a public defender.
Well, I would say recently there have been some gains. I think more people who work in the criminal defense field are seeing the need there should be judges that represent not only every demographic, but also all perspectives. And I think someone who has had experience within the criminal defense world, and not to say state's attorneys and former state's attorneys don't, but you have a particular niche, a particular focus, and I do think it makes for a broader, more diverse, judiciary to have people who draw from all areas of the practice.
Yeah, having covered court as a reporter, it would be a real education for people to just take off one day and go to court and see what actually happens compared to what you think happens on TV.
I completely agree. In fact, this semester, and this year in particular, I'm teaching a course at DePaul Law School, and one of the assignments is for the students to actually go to court and observe court proceedings, and really to compare what they learn about how it should be to how it actually operates. And so I think it, as you're suggesting, it will be an amazing educational tool.
No, it really is, and I would encourage people to go along that route. That is definitely very cool stuff. So, plus, well, whatever. We're talking about you, not me. So, so you can't run a regular campaign because you can't get like an alderman can, I'll give you 40 acres and a mule, vote for me. So you can't make those kind of promises, and there's a lot you can't talk about. So are you making the rounds of all these social events and all the rest of it, or?
Yes, and it feels like I have about 3 full-time jobs right now, but I have to say this is an aspect of the campaign process that I actually do enjoy. I've been able to go into segments of the city, segments of the county really, and it is a huge county, that I really had no experience with and no real knowledge of. I mean, you know by people that you meet and what they talk about, but when you actually go to the different locations and you experience the neighborhoods, and there are so many, it's a great education, actually.
No, that's terrific. And I'm sure you have a website?
Yes, I do. It is www.voteforjudgeericareddick.com.
www.voteforjudgeericareddick.com. You're also on Facebook, you were telling me?
There is a Facebook page, although I have to confess it's there. That's about what I can say.
I want to thank you very much, Judge Erica Reddick, for joining us today, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.